Hi there, readers. I'm Lynda Engler, and today I'd like to read you a little bit of my book, The Forgotten Isle. This book is sci-fi, fantasy, time travel for middle grade readers. That's pretty much 4th through 8th grade. Don't worry if you're in 3rd grade. You're a pretty good reader. Have at it. Today I'm going to read you the prologue and chapter 1 and show you some of the pictures in the book. This book is about King Arthur when he's 12, a little bit before he was king. And King Arthur gets to travel back in time, for him, 2,700 years, from 500 AD back to 2200 AD. And he gets to be a hero, whether he wants to be or not. Even legends were kids once. Before Arthur was king, the legendary ruler of Britain, before the Round Table, before Lancelot and Guinevere, Arthur finds himself transported back to 2200 BC, the Bronze Age. An evil power has entered the Emerald Isle, and Finias is under attack. The people are being hurt and killed, and the villagers flee from the demon power. Danu, the Earth Mother, is sworn to protect her people, but she's run out of ideas. She reaches 2,700 years into the future and transports young Arthur of the Britons to her time. Someday, Arthur will unite all of England and be king, but right now he's only 12. Does he have the knowledge and power needed to save her people? Prologue. Taran's story, April 3rd, 2200 BC, Ireland. Why is it that just when you have everything all figured out, everything changes? I had a pretty good life. Normal, comfortable, maybe even a bit boring, but that was yesterday. Then today happened. It's the last day of classes, and I'm so excited to be out for the warm season. Tomorrow we begin planting the grain in the fields. We always start with a kind of corn called grazing maize, because it can be planted before the ground is really warm. Seeded after alfalfa has played out, it grows well in the rich nitrogen that remains in the soil. I, Taran, son of King Tuan, know a lot about farming. I should, after all. I've lived in a farming community my whole boring life. My brother Elon and I will be overseeing 25 field hands. This is a big responsibility for young men, as father likes to call us. I'm just glad to be done with studies for a few months. I do like learning new things, and Master Shreng is a good teacher, but there's a lot to be said for having freedom to do the things you want to do, like hunt with my new bow that father gave me for my birthday. Elon had just entered the city gate from readying the fields for planting with some older boys and met up with my sister Taltiu and me as we headed home after school. "Tonight is the planting feast, brother," shouted Elon, running to catch up to us. Taltiu and I had just left Master Shreng's home just inside the city gate. "Mother will want us to wear our best tunics. I'm not sure that mine still fits. I've gotten quite tall this winter." Yeah, we all know how tall you've gotten. Ugh. Father is so impressed. Like you willed yourself to get taller. Figures you'd get compliments for something you had nothing to do with. I replied with a snarl. Elon is 16, almost grown. He's as tall as father already. He measures 10 hands tall. Father's very proud of Elon, and rightly so, as he will be leader after father is gone. Besides his incredible height, Elon is remarkable to look at. He has golden blonde hair, like mine, but his eyes are deep brown. My light blue eyes are very sensitive to bright light. Elon is lucky. He doesn't have to squint in bright sunshine. Wish I could say the same. Taltiu butted in like only a 6-year-old can. "Ain has sewn an extra length of ribbon to the bottom of my gown so it won't be too short on me. Elon isn't the only one who's grown." Her long, blonde, tangled curls swung to and fro as she walked. She loves swinging her hair around. I think she does it just to be irritating. We bicker like this all the time. Mother tries to ignore us, but when father is in earshot, we know we're in trouble because he hates it when we disagree. He thinks young men and young ladies should be civil to each other. I'm not sure I know what civil means, but it doesn't sound like something my brother and sister and I are interested in. Suddenly we heard a loud rumbling in the ground, like 1,000 cattle rushing to water. What was happening? Something was coming over the hill. I felt rather than saw the advancing darkness. It flowed over the hill like thick black water rushing over a broken dam, coming toward us with lightning-like speed. We were still near the open city gate and looked back to see an army approaching swiftly. "Run!" shouted Elon. Elon pulled out his sword and stood his ground. "Take Taltiu home, Taran. Tell father the horde is coming." With that, he rushed back out through the heavy wooden city gate. The other teenage boys he had come home with pushed the gate closed and ran off with my brother to meet the invaders. I turned toward home and ran, pulling Taltiu with me like a dog on a leash. "Move!" I shouted. We sprinted toward the center of the city. The men were already rushing out to fight the horde. We saw father at the head of the pack, leading them. Finias is a large city, and our army is great indeed. We have over 1,000 proud fighting men, and all of them were pouring out from Finias's thick stone walls. What a sight! They met the advancing horde on the fields we were to plant tomorrow. I rushed through the narrow city streets with Taltiu and rushed into the house. "Mother, I brought Taltiu!" I shouted as we crossed the threshold of our walled compound. "Where is Elon?" Mother cried as she hugged both of us to her, nearly crushing us. "He's outside with the army. He was the first to see the horde," I said proudly. "But he isn't wearing his armor." Mother is alarmed when our clothes don't match. Her concern over clothes and armor come out in just about the same worried voice, so I've learned not to get anxious about everything, just because Mother is. But I saw that horde. Now that worries me. For 4 hours we stayed hidden within our walled compound, hearing the shouts of the warriors, awful shrieks of the wounded, and hideous cries of whatever was attacking our city. Finally the noise began to let up, and men began dragging injured warriors through the city gate. Women and servants rushed to help, aiding the injured and offering water to all. They cleaned the wounds and bandaged what they could. Finias has many healers, but they could only do so much. They offered healing herbs and tonics, but some warriors would not recover. Many were dead outside on the fields, villagers too. Suddenly Father came through the gate. He was carrying someone over his shoulder. I could not see who, but I instinctively knew. So did Mother, who rushed to Father, crying, "Elon!" Ain took Taltiu and the twins to her quarters. I rushed off to get a healer and dragged him to my fallen brother. Father laid Elon gently on the ground. "He fought well," said my father, King Tuan. "He fought well. Sinea, you should be proud. He fought as well as any experienced warrior." At which point the king of Finias broke down in tears. I'd never seen my father cry before that day, or since. My mother had tears flowing as soon as she saw Elon on Father's shoulders. She knew. My brother was dead. I just couldn't believe it. While we didn't always get along that well, I really did admire my brother. He was always so strong and brave. The first of all the boys his age in everything he did. He was the best with the bow and arrow, the fastest runner, and skilled with a sword. Now he was gone. How could this happen? I just didn't understand any of this. Finally I asked, "Father, who attacked us?" Through tears, the anger grew in the king's face. "The Kulluks. They are huge, misshapen, brutal animals with the powers of evil. Senchos the Footless is their leader. They attacked us without warning, and for no reason. They've killed many villagers and sent others fleeing. We drove them off, for now." My mother shrieked. "You mean they'll be back?" Her face contorted in total horror. "Oh, most definitely. Senchos escaped. I'm sure he'll regroup and come back. We'll need to call upon our allies. I will send runners to get the courageous Firbolg to help us." The Finians were a peaceful people. Although we were proud of our 1,000-man volunteer army, we were not used to fighting. Our army was mostly a show of force to neighboring clans to prove we were a strong city. It deterred attacks from pretty much everyone. It was how King Tuan and his father before him had always kept the peace with our neighbors. We were a farming community, not a fighting community. King Tuan called for his manservant. "Talisian, go with the runners. I want you to personally deliver our plea to the Firbolg. Tell them what happened here today. Tell them how my eldest son and heir has fallen to these monsters," he said. He stopped to think a moment, then continued, "We must form an alliance with them. I will give them fertile land and as much wealth as I can spare if they will come and help shield Finias from this godless horde. Go now." Well, that's the end of the prologue. To read more, please go to my website, www.lyndaengler.com, and that's Lynda with a Y. And from there you can see links to further readings, to excerpts, to purchase the book on Amazon, or to get the Kindle edition. And all that information is down there at the bottom. Thanks a lot for listening. Have a great day.